Sitting down here with Deputy Minister for Diplomacy, Michael Oren. First off, thanks so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Pleasure to be with you.
I want to start off with the U.S. peace plan. Reportedly, it's been put on the shelf once again in anticipation of Israeli elections coming down the road. It's not the first time we've heard that the U.S. was ready to put it out, only to see it put on the shelf. Are we ever going to see this plan?
The midterms are now behind us. We may have Israeli elections in front of us. I don't think it's in anybody's interest that the Israeli elections be about the peace plan. They should be about the leadership of the State of Israel and many other issues. That being said, I believe that there is an interest both on the side of Israel, both on the side of the American administration and of the Arab world, frankly, that this peace plan be put down on the table earlier rather than later. There's a lot of work to be done. And yes, you're right, the Middle East is full of surprises all the time.
But then the question remains. We have Israeli elections, and then by the time that's done and the government is formed, we're back to campaign season in America. So the question remains, is there ever a good time to put this plan on the table?
I've had sometimes close connections with the various envoys of the president. I don't ask them about what's in the peace plan. I prefer not to. It's like, how hot dogs are made. Sometimes it's better not knowing. But I trust this administration. I trust the president's envoys that they want what's best for the State of Israel. I believe that the president does want a deal. He's been very open about the fact that this deal will involve concessions from all sides, including what he has said has been some difficult concessions for the State of Israel. Yes, there will be difficult decisions to be made, and that is reason that certain far more right-wing members of my own coalition are already coming out and saying they're not going to agree with this peace plan. I believe unequivocally that that is a mistake.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said about a week ago or so, when questioned about the midterm elections, he said, nothing to worry about. I've got good relations with the Democrats. You think it's an existential threat, if I remember what you said correctly. Where's that disconnect? Why the two seemingly disparate views on the nature of Israel's relationship with the American left?
Maintaining that bipartisan support has become increasingly difficult as the American political system generally has become increasingly polarized, divided, acrimonious. Even dialogue is barely possible today, and it's difficult. And there are elements on both sides are going to say that Israel is going to be a wedge issue, and we have to fight against it the best we can. It's not going to be easy. We have to continue to try to reach out to Democrats, not just to Democrats, but to progressive Democrats, those who are even highly critical of us, and try to get them to understand better our perspective, bring them here, have them meet with Israeli officials. It's not enough just to meet them there. They have to see the reality here. And I believe that we have to invest much more deeply in maintaining and strengthening our ties with the Democratic.
Who's leading that? And is there a master plan of sorts?
I don't know.
Who should it be up to?
It should be up to elements within the Israeli government. I don't know if that's taking place or not. I know what I do. I know when a progressive mission comes to the Knesset, I clear my desk, my schedule, and I meet with the progressive mission because I know how important that is to talk to them. In many ways, I give more of an effort to meet with those who are more critical of us because I want to convince them that about the realities of our situation and why they should be supporting us more robustly.
On a lot of fronts, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has made diplomatic progress, but sometimes it comes at a cost. We look at a country like Chad with human rights problems. We look at some other far-right nationalist governments in Europe with a history of anti-Semitism, even a history of neo-Nazism. So while there are movements being made and some positives, they're coming at a cost.
I have come out in the Israeli press and have cautioned, have advised caution in establishing some of these relationships. Particularly with parties and governments that have had a fascist or Nazi past. I've asked the question, to what degree are we willing to sacrifice our collective memory for possible benefits in the present or in the future? And I think that we should examine every case individually on its own merits. Yes, it's important to establish diplomatic ties with an important, very large Muslim African country. But again, I think we should do all of this with a close examination of what might be the costs, not just the political costs today, but in terms of our identity as a Jewish state and our collective memory.
There's a lot of portfolios available right now, cabinet positions, with the recent exits of Avigdor Lieberman, Sofa Landver, the immigration minister. So you have the immigration ministry open, the foreign ministry position open. First off, do you want any of these positions?
Indeed.
Preference?
Foreign minister.
Have you voiced that to the Prime Minister?
I have many times.
And his response?
He says, you know, I'm fully qualified. I would think I'm probably the most qualified person in Knesset today, but this is also a political decision. We have a coalition form government, and there is the division of that pie, of the governmental portfolios, as they're called. It looks as if those portfolios will go to members of the Likud. I'm not a member of the Prime Minister's party.